What's up, everybody? What up,
Hello.
JoJo?
What's up, Lena? How you
What's
doing?
going down? I'm good. How are you?
Trying to be
That's a loaded
excellent,
question. Yeah, it's a loaded question
It
these days.
is. It is a loaded question. It's a tough question. Um, trying to find the space for myself when needed, but it's been interesting. What about you?
Yeah,
How you
it's been
doing over
interesting.
there?
Good. Just trying to find ways to be helpful. Responding to the white allies as quickly, as efficiently as I can.
Hmm.
And just trying to find ways to really help those that are on the ground that we're doing over here with Helmet Helps, but
Right.
then also being creative and staying creative and writing. And it's like I got like a scene I got to tweak, on a draft of something. So it's
Yeah.
like you still got to do your job while being black in the midst
Yeah.
of a revolution, in the
Yeah.
midst of a pandemic. So there's that. But since this is a conversation, we only have very little time. I want to ask you, how important is it for you to be on television right now? For you to be a masculine presenting, brown skinned, lesbian
Hmm.
woman? Um, how significant is that right now?
um, is is substantially significant and necessary. I think representation in all regards is so necessary. And right now, we're fighting for so many different causes, not just Black lives or Black male lives, but Black trans lives, gay Black
Hmm.
lives,
Right.
um, and people being able to see a certain type of character on screen that regardless of your own particular sexuality or race or gender, that I find that Hattie on 20s is a very transitional character in that she can be relatable to a lot of different people. And I think that when
Hmm.
people find
Right.
relatability to a character, they can find empathy for a group of people as well, because
Hmm.
their perception of things can be flipped around. You can put your feet in somebody else's shoes,
Hmm.
when there's representation and when you can see a storyline from a character that humanizes them. So I think it's
Absolutely.
it's very, very, very important right now, especially in the space that we're in, to humanize differences in people and
Hmm.
humanize Black skin. I mean, if we really want to keep it real, and I think that characters like Hattie create a space of understanding.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I heard something.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
cool.
yeah, me too.
Go ahead.
What about you?
Uh,
How do you have been the leader of the new school, in regards to representation within the LGBTQ community. And I myself personally am extremely grateful to you for creating space and creating lanes, as you always do. But especially for people that look and present themselves the way that we do. How significant was it for you to finally see your baby come to fruition and to see this character on screen that you created?
I mean, I think I didn't realize how significant it was. I think it was
Mm,
just really me trying to tell a story and trying to tell an honest one, and I had to be patient. A lot of people don't know I wrote 20s before I wrote The Shy. So The Shy just
yeah.
happened to get made first, and a lot of work had to be done for 20s to exist in our world, in our society, in our nation, for people to be able to
Hmm.
embrace that. And so it was easy for them to say, okay, Black men trying to figure it out on the south side of Chicago and trying to go on against those stereotypes. They were ready for that. They're like, okay, we could do that. We could show Black men in a human
Right.
light. But to see a queer Black woman was such a mind fuck for some people. They were just like, I don't really know.
Mhm.
And people just really, and they would see it, they would know it was good, but they really couldn't really get on the good foot. And then finally, Scott Mills was just like, look, you've done enough to prove that you know what you're doing, and this story is worth telling, especially right now. And he just was like, let's do it. And I think he also
Yeah.
saw that there was an audience for it and that there could be one. And I'm just really grateful for people, for showing up. I'm grateful to David Nevins, who's going to also show it on Showtime in July. And so that kind of stuff is really important. And then again, we'll be exposed to, I'll be honest, a much whiter audience on Showtime than we were at BET.
Yeah,
But I
exactly.
think the truth is that they need to see us in that light too. I love having shows on BET because it's directly for us and our audience. But I think when those shows get exposed to other audiences, they need to see us in a very human and happy, healthy light as well. But also, I'm not afraid to show realities of what that means too. So it's exciting, the whole
Right.
thing. Are you excited about where things are going in business in terms of, well, somebody actually just asked me a really good question. Somebody was like, there's not many of me out there. And maybe a part of me is
Mhm.
grateful that I got to help, usher you into the industry and help guide you
Yeah.
on your journey to make sure you're as successful as
Mhm.
possible, and you can, then other people will follow behind you. I think it just takes one or two to kind of create an army. And
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm really trying to help facilitate, because I know there's more of us where we came from.
Right.
But are you excited about the possibilities of that happening now that both of us exist in the public eye?
Oh, I'm extremely excited, and I'm grateful. I had a couple months ago before Corona hit, this girl recognized me leaving out of the grocery store, and she was like, "You're that girl from 20s," and I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "I just want to let you know there's space for you in this industry," and I was just like, "Thank you." And she drove off, and she drove
Ah,
off, and I was just like, "Damn!" I
hilarious.
feel like that was like she just wanted to give me that one message, like, saying like there's
There's
space
space
for
for
you,
you.
and
Was this a
that was
white
significant
person?
to me. No, it
Was
was a
this a white
black
person?
girl.
It was a black
No, it was a
girl.
black
Okay,
chick.
dope.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
amazing. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah.
and that's the thing. I think the black community is making strides in terms of, I think people
Mm,
kind of got the black community a little fucked up where they're like, oh, they're all not really for the LGBTQIA plus movement. And I was like, nah, a lot of
right,
black folks are on it and are learning
right.
the right terminologies and all those things. And so, because that's work that we got to do within our communities as well, of making sure that
Mhm.
that intersectionality is there, and that when we say black lives, we're referencing all black life, and that's queer black
All
life as
black lives,
well.
right.
And
Exactly.
so, but I do think there is movement on that as well. And so I'm happy to hear,
For
because at first
sure.
I was like, oh, is that a white person saying that? But it warms my heart even more to know that was a black person that's like, we with you, we
Yeah,
got you, we here, we in it.
right.
Because
Exactly.
that's really what matters, is our community for sure.
So, I would say that, one of the things that is significant for, the show 20s was representation of a masculine presenting
Hmm.
lesbian. Um, what did that mean for you? And, for me, in regards to that, that was significant because I've seen lesbian characters on television, but other than the incredible Queen Latifah who played uh
Cleo.
and set it off. Cleo,
Right,
yes. Hey, Cleo. Growing up, I love seeing Cleo on screen. Like I ain't gonna lie, it was the first
right,
time I saw two women interacting uh in a in a romantic way. And it kind of like, even as a kid, kind of like sparked something in me a little bit. I was like, this kind of resonates with me a little bit, but I'm kind of not Cleo, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not that hard.
right, right,
But
right,
But then,
right. Real
I get
shit.
a little older. I see, Spike Lee, She Hate Me, and it's more,
Right, right,
it's two feminine presenting lesbians, and then I'm like, oh,
right.
okay, I didn't even know that was a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like
Ah,
honestly, like at that time in my life, and so I feel like Hattie is kind of more or less the first time a lesbian is being represented in this regard, to where she ain't, she ain't Snoop from The Wire, you know what I'm saying? But she got her
no,
own
yeah,
swag. You know what I'm saying? Like I think there's a she's masculine, but there's also a softness to her from being surrounded by her best friends
absolutely.
who are, you know, who are straight feminine women. So
Yeah, no, that's
why
real.
was that significant for you to
It
make
was,
sure that she
yeah, I mean, I think it was important because we hadn't really seen that before. I think people have
Mhm,
these ideas of about, there's other term would be butch, stud, masculine presenting. It runs the gamut, but I think that it was important for me just to show the fact that, like, there are soft studs. Some people call us tender boys, like whatever it may be. But
yeah.
it I wanted to be clear that like black women who I always say masculine presenting, that's sort of my thing, or stud. That's a term that black folk like to use. Um, we can also be soft. We can also be
Right.
vulnerable, and we're not all aggressive. I remember there was a time when that was also a very popular term. It may still be, which is aggressive and aggressive. And I remember hearing
Mhm.
that coming up. I remember watching something on Logo. I think it might have been called the aggressive, maybe. But I remember thinking to myself that I'm not like an uber aggressive person, but
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm a tomboy, and I'm masculine this way, but I'm feminine in that way. And I really, it was about that section of the lesbian community really finding our own voice. And the truth is, since it's because of social media and Instagram and Facebook and all these and Twitter, I've found that community in a great way. I'm probably sure you probably hear from people in the community as well who consider
Yeah.
themselves studs or masculine presenting, because a lot of people assume that we want to be men or that we're
Mhm.
trans, or and the thing is like that's may not necessarily be the case. And so that's why it's important that one, I think people talk, have conversations, ask questions that are appropriate,
Right.
because you could learn something, just because a lot of people often assume, oh, you want to be like a dude, or you're aggressive, or you're uber, or there's a toxic masculinity that comes with it. And not necessarily. Like,
Mhm.
I'm always fighting to be the best, person I can be, partner I can be, friend I can be. And I think people don't necessarily associate that with someone that walks with the world the way we do. And I was really happy
Mhm.
that we got to just show a different side of us.
Yeah, I would say one of the scenes people loved the most from 20s was, the scene with Hattie and Adina, played by
Yeah, yeah.
Shiloh. Um,
Mhm.
that was something I think people weren't used to people talking about,
Right, right.
but it's like, I think that
That stud on
it was a
stud love. Yeah, but for those that don't
exactly.
know, there's a scene with with Hattie and Adina, played by Shiloh, who we love. Shout out to Shiloh.
Yeah.
Um, and basically Shiloh's character has kind of been feeling Hattie, and they're both
Mhm.
sort of stud type women. And there is a bit of a stigma that goes with women who are masculine, who date other masculine presenting women. A lot of times masculine presenting women, sometimes are like, that's not my preference, or I don't date other women who are
Right.
masculine presenting as well. And it was just something that I really wanted to explore for myself, because I have not done it personally. Most women I date are
Mhm.
very feminine, and but those that does sort of fall into these sort of heteronormative roles of, oh, then when people
Mhm.
go, oh, so you're the boy, she's the girl. And so when you see two masculine presenting women, people say, well, who's the woman? I don't get it. And it's really like this silly thing that in our own community there's this weird discrimination. There's weird judgment that happens there. And so I really just wanted to face it head on, and just really have Adina speak from a real place. And it's crazy because I did help inform that scene. It's from AZ's script, but I really wanted to, and luckily AZ and I have a great relationship, and I told her I really
Yeah.
wanted to tackle that, and she gave me the space to step in and play with it, and we really worked really hard on that scene, and I was so proud of it.
Mhm.
And watching it back, like, I could not be prouder of that dialogue and that conversation of Adina basically
Yeah.
saying, you are doing the very thing you asked the oppressor not to do to me. You're judging me, and you're
Exactly.
judging who I am and what I'm like based on my appearance.
And a
And
lot of
so it was really a very
exactly.
powerful, really powerful scene. So I'm really happy that it all came together the way it did, because I really think it
Yeah.
struck a nerve with our community specifically. I mean, I saw those tags too. They were tagging me too, and they were just like, "What?" They were
Right,
like, "I can't believe
right. They
you
were
saying
trying
this
to
on
figure it
TV.
out. Nah,
This
they
is
was
crazy
definitely trying to
town."
figure it out. Yeah, nah,
Yeah,
it was significant, and it needed to be said,
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
'cause
I'm
it's
really
done,
proud of that. Yeah, that's when art is
yeah,
at its best, is when it's saying something true that nobody wants to touch.
right. Say, or maybe they haven't even, considered it, just because, like
Right,
you
right, right,
said,
right.
going along heteronormative, system
Mm-hmm.
of how things work, So,
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you gotta just
but,
go with the flow, see what feels right. Do you think it's still
mm,
difficult to be out and gay? And I'll make it even more specific, and black. Is it still difficult to be black gay, and out in Hollywood right now? I know what answer I gave, but I'm curious to know what you have to say.
To be out black and gay, I haven't received any negative experiences or anything like that. I do recognize though that we live in a little bit of a bubble and can kind of get
Mm-hmm.
disenchanted to what's going on outside of LA and in other
Mm-hmm.
states that are conservative or along the Bible Belt, Um
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
no, I would say, in Hollywood, no, I would say everybody's been very receptive to me individually, and then as to the character that I'm portraying as well, Hattie. And other than that, though, I did go to Arizona recently, and I realized, okay, things get different when you cross some state lines, and people just look at you a little differently, and when you are in a same sex relationship, or two black women in a same sex relationship,
That's true. My answer was similar, that I feel very blessed to be feel very accepted within the industry and that we're in. That is it can be very liberal at times in that area, but at the same time, it must still be difficult to be out black and gay because in this particular industry, because there are so few of us. I mean, that's just, I
Right.
mean, it's a numbers game. It's like if you look at how many people that are known and are black in the industry, and then if you can count on
Mhm.
like maybe one or two hands how many of them are out, um, that would be, the numbers just don't add up. Donating funds to important organizations and to different organizations within communities, particularly Black communities. But I also think, look, it's behavioral. It's like there's nothing more difficult than to unlearn bad behavior. And so that is going to be a process that is going to take time. And I will be honest, Black folks are not that patient anymore. So folks need to start unlearning their bad behavior as quickly as possible, because we've been
Right.
living in this bad behavior and this supremacy for long enough. And so we've called a thing. We've acknowledged when a spade is a spade. So now it's about change behavior. And I think sometimes it can be easy for big organizations to write a check, but it's more difficult to check their white friends when they're doing something that does not service us as a nation. So I think that
Mm.
really is sort of what I would like to see, is behavioral changes in the business, because I've lived through some stuff and I'm 36. There are people that are older than me that can talk about stories about Hollywood that are just horrendous. But the fact that some of us still got horror stories today is just
Right.
more passive aggressive. Is There's just more microaggressions. It's just like that ain't it's still there. I mean, the fact that I had a white guy showrunning The Shy season 1 is like nuts. Like, just make now that would never happen, but it happened in
Yeah.
2014, 2015, whatever year that was. So it's like at the end of the day, we still got some work to do. And
Mhm.
and I think it's true in Hollywood, people do seem to look to this industry to go, okay, what are y'all doing over there? And I think that's why it's important that sometimes we do got to step up and do the right things and behave differently than we have before, to really try to show people the way and be like, this is no longer cool, and we've got to fix things. And I love that people are making lists of demands. That's my next meeting, is talking to a group of Black women about what the demands are. So and I
Yeah.
think that's the time to do it, is to say, this is what we will no longer stand for. This is what we need moving forward, and people need to act accordingly. And speaking of like Warner Music, it's like the interesting thing is I've been loving seeing a lot of particularly Black musical artists saying, what you could do rather than donate funds is to get people out of these horrible 360 deals. That's really important,
Yeah.
because so many artists, particularly Black artists I know, don't even have the rights to their own music. They're getting, fucked by these deals. And I mean, there's a reason why Prince wrote the word slave on his cheek, is because he was talking about how fucked up things were then, with the music
Mhm.
industry and these record labels and then robbing Black musicians of their art. It's about that, is what I'm talking about in terms of behavioral changes. Let's make sure we get that figured out rather than just writing checks.
I wholeheartedly agree. We definitely got to make sure we vote too. That's
Hmm.
important coming
Absolutely.
up. You know the options, man. but
I
still
know,
important.
but like anything is better than what we got right now. So let's make sure
Whew.
we, and also too, we're going to be amplifying candidates for people. I know that's going to be coming out very soon. Organization of folks that's really going to amplify for people who, because I know it's hard to do research for people and to read everything. It's like we're going to let you know which candidates are more who have your interests at heart. Like that's really what I think is happening too. We're good. We're good. All right.
Thank
Everybody
you.
good. Everybody
All right.
settled. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you all. Later, JoJo.
Later, Lena. I see
I'll
y'all.
holla at you. Yeah,
Yes,
see you
ma'am.
later, JoJo. See everybody. Peace.